Hey everyone, welcome back. It's the year end for sure. We know everybody who has shown up in the 2023 calendar year, which means I'm not plus 10ing anybody for the rest of the year, which is such a nice feeling. Such a good feeling. But I did collect basically every hero that I managed to get max merges on throughout the year, and it turns out that it was actually a nice even number of 20, which I love that a lot, actually. So in no particular fashion here, some of these have finished kits, some are not finished, some I still have a lot of work to do on them. But for better or worse, these are the plus 10s that I got this year, be it through years of waiting, like with Legendary Ike, just lucky arena tickets, like Nephany or Subasa, and then also sheer force of will, like the Gullveigs. Or my personal favorites, the Grails, which there are a couple on here this year, which is just so nice. I think this was maybe my best Grail pool year yet, having 3 that I was genuinely pretty hyped about. So I love that. So we're gonna start off by longest to newest. Newest will not shock you. Uh, so this is like this is the kit that I have on him currently. I cooked this up a while ago. I ended up giving him this kit before Brave Soren got revealed, turns out. So, given his ability to make, saves with defense, going kind of full into defense mode, Ike, was kind of a blessing in disguise. And really, it was just what I had at the time. So, it all worked out. I love when the plan comes together. But this was my longest. This is actually my first Ike that I pulled. He is plus attack, he's minus speed. Obviously merged, so you can't tell, but he's one of my longest running units that I have at plus 10 now. And I think I finished up the final merges in like November, I want to say. I feel like it was around my birthday, so not too long ago, which is nice. But yeah, overall, that was by far one of the longer running projects. Yoon was not necessarily one that I've been waiting a long time on, necessarily. There were just other options that showed up in remix pools where, I happened to get Yoons. I never intended to go out and plus 10 Yoon, which is why she just finished up this year. She's obviously been out for a couple books now. But, I feel like Yoon has aged pretty well in terms of, usability, if that's even a phrase. This is a kit that probably could use a little updating. She's probably got some more optimal stuff with like Brash Assault or something in there somewhere, I'm sure. So yeah, maybe if I get good rolls on her in Hall of Forms, we'll recruit. I don't know. It probably just makes more sense for me to just give her the fodder since she's already a plus 10, and she's a mythic. So we'll see. But this is what I'm currently running on. I did this unironically. I can't remember why. It may have been some sort of deranged speedrun stat that I was trying to think of at the time. Or I don't know. Maybe it was the seal res that I gave her. But I gave her close salvo, which is just crazy. You probably don't want to do that. 20 defense, a whopping 20 defense. But that's what I got on her. Now, I have to keep moving, otherwise I'm not going to get through any of these. This is Palla. This is Palla. One of the few spring units that I really like. And she's Palla. So what's not to love? There was a lot that went into this. You can see, obviously, she has the Echo skill as well. But when Arcane Void came out, there were a handful of units that I wanted to give that to. Palla was one of them. And is it the best thing for her? I don't know. But she's a dagger, she's a flyer. She has some versatility there. So I wanted to build her and give her something that was like a little more betterist. I still don't know if this is exactly where I want to land with her in particular. But she is kitted. She's got some stuff on her kit for sure. Another one that was literally years in the making. I ended up getting a +10 Marth and Sothis before I got an Altina. But she did get refined, which is great. I ended up getting the last 2 copies that I needed this year, which was also nice. She's got Guard Bearing 4, which I'm sure is no longer the optimal choice on her, because, you know, it's been months since I've updated her kit. And then obviously Guides it. I think she's one of the better mythics. I don't know if anybody will agree with me. I happen to think she's one of the better mythics. For a DC unit on top of that, pretty solid, you know. Could she be better? Yeah. I mean, she could. But, you know, it is what it is. But I love Altina. I love everything Tellius, which, you know, obviously you can see there's a fair amount of Tellius on here. So Altina was definitely one that I had in mind where I was like, yes, I want to get many, many copies of her and make her goated. And I feel like she holds her own pretty much for the most part. Tsubasa. Tsubasa needs a kid. One of my goals for 2024 is giving Tsubasa a proper kit, because I can never decide, and it's just sad, right? Like, you might be thinking, oh, surely there are other things he has given her, and we just, you know, we're not looking at all the skills. Nope, this is pretty much as good as it gets. This is what she's got. I did refine her, you know, so like we got all of that. So surely there is something I could send her way down the road here. I don't know what that looks like per se, but we'll find out. I do love that she has dual effectiveness in her weapon. That's one of the main reasons is why I build up so many Micaiahs the way I do, because, like, you know, you're never gonna not want dual effectiveness, you know what I mean? So that is Tsubasa. It is sad. It's sad. But I was mostly pulling blue on arena tickets for Nephany here, who I did kind of kit out a little bit. This was, I think, before we got the second Arcane Lance, which probably would suit her better, more than likely. But this is what she got. I did update her to also have Fiznall follow-up, because I got a few bales for reasons. I really like Neff. You know, if I'm lucky enough to get an extra no quarter, a Winter Dimitri, I'd probably end up giving that to her, to be honest. I love her Jotun art for her Resplendent. She was one in particular that I was really hoping would get Jotun, and she did. And so now I'm just fingers crossed that Titania gets it too, because those were listen, I want everybody to get Jotun Resplendents. I just do. So I'm hoping that Titania also gets it, but Neff was one, and so even if Titania doesn't, they give her some dumb fairy alt or something, like, you know, it's whatever. I'm happy Neff got one. I'm thrilled about it. And I was able to get her to +10 from a few ticket pulls, actually, and then her Resplendent copy that came out also this year, so that was pretty tight. Plumeria, whose kit I also have not completely updated yet. I'm waiting on a couple reruns to get what I actually need or want to put on her. But that will be my goal. But I do have her, obviously upgraded there where possible. Plumeria is my favorite mythic dancer by far, for sure. Probably one of my more go-to dancers, just in general. And it's typically gonna be a mythic dancer of some capacity. One of the fairies. It's probably everybody's go-to, truthfully. But Astra specifically is a season where I don't really try and ether rates. I use auto create for like 98% of the time. But Plumeria has been very helpful, and unlike her New Year ult, was not as difficult to obtain. She actually, I got her to +10 very early in the year, and then I was just waiting for the refine to drop so that I could kit her properly. And now I'm waiting on certain reruns to get the fodder that I want, because I was waiting for the longest time, assuming that we would eventually get an increase on the number of inheritable skills we can take at a time. No. No. That hasn't happened, and I frankly don't think that it ever will happen. So I've moved past that, and I'm moving on with my life. Palla. Another one of the few recipients of Echo skills that I have given out this year. I also gave her Gambit 4, Heavy Blade. There's a lot of things on Palla. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. There's a lot of stuff on Palla. I think I'd like to give her No Quarter also, if I'm lucky enough to get another Dimitri, if I choose to pull some more, and then I'm able to multiply it with some rearmed or attuned or somebody. But I love Valentian Palla like so much. I'm a big Palla guy just in general. No Katria for me. No. In terms of White Wings, I am a Palla stan. But I never really know what works well on her, but I love her weapon. I think whenever that refine happens, it's gonna be really, really good. Because the weapon's already really good. I mean, you already get Canto, you get dual brave phase, adaptive damage. This is just a lot in so few senses, which I also really. It has so many options, but in so few words, and that's really nice. And I'm, like I said, big Palla fan. New Year Dagger happened early on in the year, mainly because I just got lucky. That's really all it was. Again, not necessarily one that I was actively polling for. But, whenever circles came up, I pulled green. We just got there eventually. She was, I think, the highest scoring duo so far, which was a bonus. Because, I thought the effects that she gave were pretty insane, and also Jotun. I like Jotun just in general. Best part of book 5 by far was the Jotun saga within it. Outside of the character writing that they did for Note, that was not so great. But overall, I just I love Jotun attire and the whole aesthetic. It's just cool. So. By far one of my favorite duos that exist, which might shock some people, but probably in the top 5 of favorite duos that we have, not counting Harmonized, because I do count them differently. Speaking of Harmonized, by the way, Lind. Everybody from here on out is basically just going to be favorites. I did have a couple where I lucked out on like arena tickets, or they were just in packs. Like I think New Year Dagger was, this was love of the game from here on out. And Lind is one that I always feel like goes underappreciated. Not to mention, she's paired up with a Thracia character, which my Barracks for Thracia, whenever limited battles come around, is it's always so rough. Like, I'm like, okay, give me Scion's Leaf, and let's hope for the best. Like, that's genuinely how I feel about it. But since we got Lind, it's static. And at the time, it seemed like really expensive fodder to kill off 11 times with Remote Sparrow. But obviously, then we came out with stuff like Flared Sparrow. So while still having its place, Remote Sparrow is not necessarily as widespread, universally applied to every unit that could possibly use it now, in lieu of some other options for A instead. So that has aged nicely for me. I don't have as much regret doing it. But man, I do love me some Lind, just so much. Speaking of characters that I love, Chloe. Dude, the Engaged Drought? Yikes. Yikes. The Engaged Drought is real. Boy, is it real. I wouldn't have minded a seasonal variant of Chloe if that's the direction that they chose to go. Up through Brodia, like we've had normal standard banners. And that's fine. I don't know what their plan is for the rest of the regions or cast or what have you, but we've been getting slow seasonal drip of an engaged character here or there. Is it summer, Halloween, and then winter, I think. So your major holidays, maybe we'll see one on New Year too, I don't know. But Chloe's one where, like, I love the design. I love my Pegasus Knights. She's an Omni tank. You can see I have her floretted here. Like, it's just good. And her base kit was also really nice, so that's a bonus. I want to update her in some capacity. I like no quarter on her. I know I've said that multiple times now. I don't even know if she can get it. I'm pretty sure she can. I think it's just melee. Was it non-armor melee units? I think is what they can get outside of like beasts and dragons for whatever reason, obviously. But yeah, Chloe is one that I plan on continuing to update as time goes on for sure. Boy, did she hold Omni Tank well for those first couple months at least. She has not fared as well in the Omni Tank arena, so we may swap that up a bit moving forward. But dude, you want to talk about great art? Now this one did hurt a lot because specifically of Dazzling Shift. I killed that 11 times, which is so expensive. But dude, healers, for the limited amount of kudos that they actually do get throughout the year, what a great year for healers. Kind of. We started strong, we ended not as strong, and we had like a slight vamp up somewhere in the middle of the year. Ascended Elencia was great. Like I genuinely loved her design for that. And we were waiting for like a staff Elencia at some point down the road. And we finally got it. I don't know what they plan to do in terms of Ascended heroes, like, ever again. I think we only got like 3 this year, 3 or 4. So that was. I'm glad she's one of them. I'm genuinely glad she's one of them. And we got another one, which was legendary Elencia, but we'll talk about her in a minute. Yeah, I'm thrilled that she exists, basically, and I don't care how expensive the fodder is. Green hair. Do I have a tell? I think I have a tell. I think it's green hair. Green hair. Rhea. Dude, Rhea's goated. I don't care what anybody says. Rhea's goated. Silver Snow's goated. I love it all. She had prominence, as many units do, until about 6 weeks after the fact, and then They've fallen off a little bit. We'll see how long the Winter Banner holds on in terms of relevancy. Because that one might go the distance a bit longer than a month and a half. But we'll have to, you know, jury is still out on that. We'll talk in February, I'm sure. But yeah, when Rhea came out, I lost my mind. The artist, in fact, they've only other done one more piece, and that was for Resplendent Awakening Tiki, which was great. So I don't know who it is watches my channel, but thank you. Thanks for that. I appreciate you looking out for me the way that you do. Yeah, I'm really hoping that we get some sort of dragon special for New Year's. That's honestly the thing that's really gonna reignite my excitement for Faye. Right now, I'm just kind of coasting and thinking about how little money I want to spend this year. As we go through all of these, which were definitely this year alone. Ever since Lind, basically. Everything else has been either a work in progress or... Yeah. But hey, this one didn't cost me any money. Who I still don't have built, by the way. I went on this tangent of trying to build her on the free-to-play account. And then I was working through things on that, and I never paid attention to my own Cornelia. But truthfully, once Ascended Elencia came out, like, that is who I used for any and all healing needs that I had. Though they fill relatively different healer type roles, because their weapons are so different. But yeah, once I get the proper fodder for her, which I think I got a couple extra duo Thors from something not that long ago. So like still water, I'm gonna put still water on her. Maybe even some ploy options somewhere in there if I'm lucky enough to get another rearmed Plumeria whenever she decides to show up on reappearance, probably by next legendary banner. I assume she'd probably be on that. But yeah, Cornelia is a GHB. Like, we all knew she was going to be a GHB, right? I was just kind of waiting for that to happen. A GHB I didn't have to wait that long for was Zephia. Zephia was a surprise. And God, am I glad she's free. Zephia being free is up there with Summer Elencia being free, I think. In terms of me being so excited that I don't have to gacha roll for it. It's up there. It's those two are they're up there for sure. So you know, obviously I've given her some good stuff like Fire Flood boost. We're running double panic, right, between her weapon and that. I don't know. She's got multiple kits. I did a whole short on it. I won't do this for everybody, but you know, there's a lot there. So with that said, I'm really glad Zephia was free. I will be even happier when Celestia is also free and in the game, but you know, that may also never happen. I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe we'll do a little DLC thing like they did with the Ashen Wolves. That'd be cool. The only downside is it's engage. So I don't know if they would ever actually do just like a dedicated thing for them. Anyway, boy. Anticipated ults. Am I right? Ira. It's been 7 years. Boy. She came at the worst possible time. Literally the same month as Gullveig. Who everybody was very highly anticipating me pulling a lot for. Yeah, I actually finished her plus 10 and Brave Gullveig's plus 10 in the same night. There were many shots of cider, which I still have the video footage for. Maybe someday I'll actually release it. We'll see. We'll see. I had a maid outfit on at one point, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is, I mean, I'm not really a maid alt guy. That's not really my thing necessarily. I don't know that I would ever go to a maid cafe when I plan to visit Japan in 2025. But I'm just happy that Ira got an alt, genuinely. So, yeah, I'll go to the wall for that, 100%. And she's sharing with Mercedes, which, you know, I love Mercedes too. That's a dub. That's a dub for me. I wish the alt maybe would have been cooler. I don't know. I think like the maid butler thing is kind of lame, but you know, the pairing is great, and I loved Harmonized Heroes, and it is what it is. I got an alt of a character that I like, and so I you know, I count that as a win. From the same banner actually, Tailtew, another one who hadn't seen any kind of alt potential in just the longest freaking time. I haven't built her proper yet, but I plan to. I think I have some arcane Sonias lying around that I can give her the tome for, and probably a handful of other things, because I've multiplied some skills on Sonia, knowing that she is an ongoing +10 project, whom we may finish up next year or the year after. Don't know. Don't really know when she's coming back. Definitely not till next year, I can tell you that much. But yeah, it's, you know, I love Tailtew a lot too. So in terms of my genealogy banners, I got lucky in that one was free. The other one was a little more expensive. 3 queens to run us out here. in the final stretch. Brave Gullveig, who, boy, do I have a past with Brave Gullveig. Not going to get into it here, but what a crazy year it has been based around Brave Gullveig. I think that, you know, I did a whole lore thing with her design, and, you know, the little intricacies that they picked up on and things like that. I think they did a great job, an actual in-depth, effortful job with Brave Gullveig, which is not something you can say with a lot of Brave heroes, especially in recent years. A lot of times you just give them, you know, a promoted outfit, you call it a day, you know? And, you know, like Gatekeeper, for example, who's probably never slated to be in the game at all. They kind of just ripped him and gave him a couple pets, which was cute. But I think that was primarily from the Cypher art. So there wasn't anything... what I'm saying is they're not always very overly inspired, right? Great design, not necessarily a lot of extra effort put in, for better or worse. I feel like they went above and beyond with Brave Gullveig, which I'm very happy about, because obviously she got voted in for reasons that I'm not privy to, per se. But instead of just kind of taking her at face value, they actually, you know, dumped a bunch of lore little tidbits in, which was nice. And I feel like for a Brave banner specifically, any character that comes out on that banner should have that treatment done to them, because you know, every character in Fire Emblem has a deeper backstory than just surface level, you know. And so a Brave banner that celebrates them, that players voted for, I feel like every Brave character should have that treatment given to them. And I'm glad that they did it with Gullveig specifically, because, you know, she ended up being a much more in-depth character than a lot of people knew at the time that she got voted in on. So I was very happy about that, for sure. And that is where I will end it. Elencia, they weren't done with me. Oh, they weren't done with me. I tell you what, man, they weren't done with me. They gave me Legendary Elencia this year, and I was thrilled. I was so happy. Show me bad Elencia art. It doesn't exist. I'm telling you. And again, green hair. Crazy. Crazy. I've already talked a lot about Ascend Elencia, right? My feelings are mutual for Legendary Elencia. Elencia's just great. A lot of people fancy me the Micaiah guy. I have, over the years, become more and more an Elencia fan. Just because I feel like her character growth and development is a little more in depth, we shall say. Like if you want the perfect Fire Emblem growth story, it's probably Elencia's. If you want a perfect character description, a characterization of overcoming struggles, it's probably Elencia. And I hope more people get to play the Tellius games. It's not many people have that available to them, because boy, are they hard to find and very expensive when you do. So yeah, someday I hope they make that available to more people, or do a remake. Do a Tellius remake. Just put them both together, because they span several years. Just put them both together in one game for the Switch, or the Switch 2, or the Switch 3, whatever it is at that point. Just do a remake for all of them. It would be great. It'll sell. I swear it. It'll sell. What's to say? Her kid's perfect. She's perfect. She wants to kill us, but she loves us. It's the whole thing. It's very complicated. I'm not sure when I promised the +10 Gullveig. But I did it. And it was actually after the whole false copyright claim thing with music that wasn't even music that I used got resolved. It was probably my favorite video that I've done this year. Hands down my favorite video that I've done this year. I am constantly trying to think of ways to make summoning more interesting. And most of the time when I'm not overly invested, it's just me talking to a camera, talking about things that, I am invested in, or things that are going on with the game, or things that are developing with the story, and just kind of rapid firing ADHD, everything out all at once. And I'm hoping that people follow that. But once in a while, I drink. I drink and I +10, and I try and do it with a little bit of chutzpah. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed that in particular, because like I said, easily my favorite video of the year. And while I didn't initially have a lot of investment in Gullveig in general, I think Book 7's development and where it ended up from where we started, I think it's probably going to end up being one of, if not my favorite book. Like, it's rivaling Book 3 right now. But I think the content specifically that I made around Gullveig makes her one of my favorites in the game, for that reason. So, and that's kind of a nice note to end on, I think, because, we've talked for a long while here on these evenly numbered 20 units that I've +10 this year, which I love that, by the way. I love that we're ending on even number. But yeah, I hope that, we're all summoning videos bangers. No, probably not. But I hope the ones that I definitely put a little extra effort into were entertaining, and you enjoyed them. And yeah, I don't know what is going to happen next year. Dragons? Maybe. We'll see in like days. We're literally days away from that. So we'll see. But hey, I thank you for coming down memory lane for me, with me, as I remember 2023. The long hardships and the new surprises that I never expected. Let me know a project that you finished this year. It doesn't necessarily have to be a +10. Can just be a kit or a revamp, or just anything like that. Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to be reading comments. So I will try and respond when I can. But that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it as always, and I will see you in the next one.